Go ahead and call the meeting to order. We will start with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you mind doing roll call?
Okay, Steve?
Here.
Holly? Here. Jason?
Here.
Joel?
Here.
Jen and Beth are here for the clerk's office.
Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Okay, second.
All those in favor? Aye. Do we have any public comments? Would anybody like to take 3 minutes to address the board? No public comments. Do we have a motion to approve June 2025 regular meeting minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the June 2025 regular meeting minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Officer reports. Madam Treasurer, would you mind giving us a report?
Yes, I believe you've all received a copy. This is the 2025 budget. And I don't expect the 2026 budget to change much, with the exception of motor vehicle highway, which is,
Oh, I just saw that too.
like, about 3 pages from the back.
What's being paid out of the vehicle highway, Jan?
Pardon me?
What's being paid out of that for the change?
I see the third line down where it says no removal and mowing.
Gotcha, yeah.
I made a mistake, and we're actually having to apply for a special appropriation. And so that will go up, probably to around 8,000, possibly more, from 4 to 8. I meant it to be 8 this year. I don't know how I,
Do you remember do you know about what we have in it currently? Like,
well, this is just what's budgeted.
right.
We've got like 130,000 or something in the actual fund.
No, I mean, like, I know that we need to take more money out to cover this year because of the extra snow and stuff we had. Like, how close are we to?
We've got 130,000 excess of what we have budgeted this year in that ballpark.
Okay, so we need to have a special meeting to appropriate.
Yeah, which I'm gonna get to, but I'm gonna do it next month,
Okay,
for the special appropriation.
okay.
But there's a new, DGLF rep. We had Vicki Milley for a number of years and she's retired. So she always had the planning meeting in July, which is a phone meeting where after I speak to you guys, we come up with what we think we want to do. And then I speak to her and we get it in the software, the state software. And then in September, we'll have a special meeting to pass that budget where you'll vote on it. And then October, you adopt the budget in that meeting and it's finalized. This year, this new rep is not having the meetings until August. So I realized we have more time. So I'm giving you this, you can take it home and look at it. See if you think you would like any, either have questions on any category, or if you have something in mind that you might want to do this coming year. Now's the time to speak up. And that gives us, we can talk about it in August, and then the appointment I have with them is after the town board August meeting.
Okay,
So we get it in, so this gives you a longer time to look at it.
okay,
And as I say, most of it will probably be pretty close
okay,
to the same. We're doing fine in terms of, a lot of these categories, we haven't even spent half the money yet. We just completed half of the year. Some things we spend more in winter, like we may have several more snow removals before the end of the year, that sort of thing. Most of it, there are a lot of dues and things like that, they're paid in January. So those slots will be 100% used up.
okay,
But the things like utilities and phone and fax and Wi-Fi and all of those things, we budgeted correctly for this year.
What is the fund that says public safety access point? What is the public safety access point?
It's just, there are two public safeties, which
It's
page are you on?
towards the back.
Okay.
That's the 911.
Is that?
Yes.
Is that new then?
PSAP, yeah.
And that's from the new tax.
The county enacted tax, I see that real quick, I think it was. Yeah.
When he finishes about that, I've got some follow-up about what I found out about that from Kennard.
That's strange, that's an operating line on yours.
I think this is from the software.
Okay,
It's not from the state.
Okay. so that probably explains it,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not.
Let me look at.
Yeah, I was gonna say, the PSAP, the 911 is completely funded by the tax they enacted a couple years ago, that
Yeah.
goes straight to the county.
And then that money, if you recall, well, let me finish the budget, then I'll go into that. Yeah, that 7,500 that you're seeing, the software is saying that it's access point, but it's not. It's just plain public safety. Because I budgeted 7,500 for public safety for this year. Now, we have a lot more than that in the public safety fund, but I opted to budget that amount. So anyway, look it over and make notes, and next month, and we'll discuss if there are changes you want and so forth.
okay,
Since you asked that question, I'll go ahead to public safety. If you remember last month, I told you I couldn't have the month reconciled because I got this, check that said that is, lit, which is local income tax. And it was an extra check, and every 6 months, it's not unusual to get an extra check because they estimate the amount of taxes they think they'll collect. And we base our budget on that, their estimate. And then people pay their taxes, and if more people paid their taxes than they estimated, they send us the difference. But I wasn't sure if that check that I got was that or the new tax we were just talking about, because it was sort of big.
okay,
And so the person that had the answer was on vacation last month, that's why I didn't have it. But I have called her, and it was the extra supplemental in excess of the estimate.
I see,
And because the new tax money is not gonna come to the town, it's gonna go to the fire department's nonprofit, ladder 17.
okay,
And Ron thought that was the case, he's gone to all the meetings, but the auditor told me that, that was right, so we won't get that.
okay,
So then you'll see that, I went ahead and reconciled last month,
okay,
since I had that information. So that's that. And then we got the 6-month settlement for property taxes, the actual money, toward the end of June. And one thing that I wanted to announce, which I think is pretty great, since I've been clerk for the last several years, we get this money every 6 months. After we pay spring tax, we get the spring money, to run the next 6 months. Like I just got the money in June, it'll help pay our budget till the end of the year. And that's been running, the property taxes have been around, varying between about 19,000 twice a year to like 21,000. And it went up a little bit last year, but we couldn't tell it because remember we had to pay for that big audit.
Right.
And they took 11,000 out of the settlement before we got it. But the settlement itself was gonna be like 22,000, which was a little more than we were used to getting. I just got the one for the first 6 months of the year, which would include some of the new houses at Kennard Lake Estate, plus the new houses that have been improved here in town before the end of 2024, when they assessed.
Right, right.
And we got almost 27,000 instead of 20.
Okay.
And I expect for the winter, in December, when we get the winter amount, that it should be around that same ballpark.
Okay.
And that does not include the bulk of the new houses, because they weren't finished before last
Right.
December.
Right.
So I think
Okay.
that's good news, you know.
Oh, that's great news. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So
We need to, review the salary ordinance. I believe Jason has put some things together. With that, Jason, would you like,
Yeah, did you guys
Explain that.
see your emails or read through it or have a chance to read it ahead of time? The salary ordinance from 2023.
This one?
That's so the things there are the only things I could see that needed to be changed or could be changed. Basically, Jan, because we had talked about the salary ordinance being looked at. I looked at it, I think it reads fine. The only additions I think that we could maybe make to maybe clarify something is just adding like the dates, or like the months to the, when it gets paid, so it's easier to keep track of, right, at the very top there. So basically, the only things I've added or changed on the 23 version to this one is what I highlighted there.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
yes.
Yeah, so we get paid quarterly here, and so, it always, we get to March or April, and we were like, should we got a check, did you want, you know? And so basically just adding the months to when we would receive our checks. The second change, the only thing that I added down there, to the deputy clerk, it said before, it said like minimum, it's set by the town council. And so I added with raises, just for the thought that you may have one clerk that could be minimum, and you may have someone else who's been here a while. So I wanted to kind of say it a little clearer. And then the only other thing that would be different than the 23 salary ordinance to this one is down on the general wastewater maintenance labor. We had $10 to $12 for the basic labor, and then we had 14 to 16 for the more advanced labor. And I didn't know why we left $13 and up to 14 out. And so I took the basic basically from $10 to 14 and the advanced from 14 to 16, just to give us that extra $1 to be able to pay if we needed to.
And did, the deputy clerk, I
It's,
thought there was this thing, it's this 6,000, I would like that to be raised, please.
Okay.
We didn't raise it after we raised
What-
the hourly wage,
what are you thinking?
75,
Okay.
100.
So the deputy clerk right now, it says that they'll be considered a part-time employee of the town at the rate of $10.50 minimum, with raises in total set by the council. It'll be the clerk treasurer's decision to determine if the deputy clerk is funded from the general fund or the Kennard wastewater utility, or a mix of both based on the services rendered during that pay period. So basically, it's going to allow Jan to be able to say, for, in this case, example, it would be Beth. You know, Beth worked 100% on wastewater, so that's what we're paying her on. Or it was town this time, so it'll leave it up to you, like before, everything's the same.
Yeah.
And what we're talking about here, the last is, the said sum shall not exceed the sum of $6,000 annually. This is what was carried over from the last one. And Jane's asking for 75 being the max.
And that, by the way, Beth is 100% sewer
Okay.
and always has been.
This, and this also does give us a little bit of a wiggle room. It says 6,000 annually unless priorly approved by the council.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we gave ourselves a little room. Deputy clerk should be paid every 2 weeks for services rendered, and again, part-time employees.
Right.
Okay. Do I hear a motion? Or discussion?
What do you think about 6 to 75?
I think that's okay.
There?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Is there anything else that have to change?
I don't need anything else now.
I'll make a motion to, pass the, 0709-2025-01 ordinance, which is the salary ordinance for the town of Kennard for 2025, with the changes, mentioned, including the 7,500, max for the annual deputy clerk, pay.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Joe, do we need to pass this twice or just once?
I think just once, just a salary ordinance. Yeah.
Okay. Madam Clerk, are there any other, administrative items that we need to deal with?
No, that's everything this month.
Okay. All right, police department had 8 calls, 9 traffic stops, 7 warnings. Sergeant Strahl completed the emergency vehicle operations instructor course. Reserve Officer Nicole Henman completed the instructor development course. Also, Reserve Officer Nicole has participated in Indiana Police and Fire Games representing the town of Kennard and has won gold once, twice.
Three?
One.
I am mistaken, there's 3.
Gold medals and broke 3 world records.
Oh, okay. All right, that's nice. All right, the upcoming training in July is on firearms. Chief was approached by Mr. King from the Senior Living Center. Mr. King proposed the officers let lockout tenants into his business doors. He's offering a service donation each time it happens. Do we have any thoughts? I'll start the thoughts. I don't think that's something that we want to get into. I think that, my opinion, could open us up for some legal issues, let alone, we're not always here, so I believe that's his personal, Mr. King's, business, and, if he needs somebody to let his tenants in, he needs to find somebody else, hire somebody. I don't know, I don't think we want to get into that. Are you guys okay with that?
I am.
Okay. All right,
Just gonna see if you guys could have your officers run by my house and check on it.
let somebody in,
Yeah.
Anybody in? I mean, anyway. Police department would like to see if we would, pay the cost for the, speed limit sign so that, the data that's logged in the sign can be, received from us. The data is, people speeding, what time they're speeding, people are following that type of stuff, but it also gives us, information on how many people go past that sign in a day or in a month, which is actually, can be pretty surprising sometimes,
It's like 20,000, something like that.
I think we've seen it from 20,000 up to close to 40,000, that goes past the sign in a month.
That's one way.
That's one way, yeah, and that's probably me running to Menards. At least half of them are. Okay, how do you guys feel about, do we know what the yearly cost is?
I tried to get that before the meeting.
Okay,
I don't know, I can find out for next month. I also think we might be able to go to the sign and maybe get it without needing the cloud, but I don't know. It's been years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So, yeah. I did find the software earlier today though, so we still have access to that, so.
Oh,
okay. So let's table that till we can find out what the cost of that is until next month. Is that fine with everybody?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Chief Brooks, is there anything else that I may have missed?
the backup car, the air looks like it's out, we're gonna go in and try to put some freon in it, see if that cures it.
Okay,
That's it.
all right, well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Okay, fire department. Holly, do you have that information?
I have written down if you want to speak.
Our printer was messed up and here's all the name for you.
Is it Lieutenant Bear?
Yeah.
Captain Bear, sorry.
We had 9 runs for the month, 5 disregarded. We had 2 fires, 4 fire alarms, and 3 medical. The disregards were 4 of the fire alarms, and 1 of the medical. We had 7 members attend the monthly training, and 7 members attend the monthly meeting. The training was combined 28 hours, and it was over CPR renewal and recertification, and we had it hosted by I think Allie Burns with the Castle EMS. She came in, so all of our guys should be up to date for the CPR certs. We have to do that every 2 years. Also, we voted on Ben Simmerly. He just turned 18, graduated from high school. He comes with a Fire 1 and 2 cert that he got in high school, and he has just finished his EMT, and he is getting ready to take his national for EMT. So
Okay.
that's a good help for us.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I do have a question about the runs. The fire alarm disregards, was that just random here in town, or was that concentrated to a particular area?
I'd have to look, it was all here in town. I believe 3 of them were at school, 1 of them was back here at this house, the last house on the left.
Okay,
They were disregarded. We did have to go to school. I was on the school, 1 of them, it was just part of food.
bird food, oh, I see, okay. So three fire alarms or 4?
For up there?
Yeah, for at the senior living center.
Living, there was 3.
3, okay.
Is that more than normal?
No, no,
Okay.
hit and miss. 1 month they may not have any, 1 month they come up, but
And it's typically
been that way.
burn food or
Typically, yeah, we
water.
always go in, check it out though, we try to, unless they do.
Right.
Disregard, try to, yeah.
For the fundraiser, we did receive our gambling license numbers, so the tickets are printed, flyers are gonna be going out. It's October 25th at the Smith Building in Newcastle for the gun raffle. I can't really explain it, you just have to read the flyer. It was also voted that there will not be a card show this year.
Pardon me?
No
There will
car
not be
show.
a card show this year.
Okay.
We have also received the money for the grant, the county foundation grant for 9 sets of new gear. We are actually getting fitted for that tonight, tomorrow, because we have to have somebody, because there's going to be a 5% increase on the gear price due to the July 15th.
Oh, well, wow,
And it happens that the gear that we have to get is going to be black in color instead of our normal tan, because tan is way more expensive than the black now. So we're just getting gear that we can use.
okay,
What we're stuck with.
okay. Okay, is that everything from the fire department? Captain Bear?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's all right. Okay, wastewater department. So here are the updates that I've received from the wastewater department. everything at the main plant is running fine, no issues. We once again passed our yearly inspection. That's a surprise inspection. And we passed that again with flying colors, which means in the last 10 years, there's just been really small, I don't even know if you call them violations, just small issues that they have found over the last 10 years. I think there's only 2 of those actually. So we passed that again this year. The lift station is limping along at this point, still on 1 pump, but everything seems to be working at this point. So which brings me to board member reports. And I will follow that up with the update on the survey company for the wastewater plants, the property that we need to get the road out to the lift station. The survey company has been paid. I called, I believe it was the middle of last week, and spoke with, I guess, just the person that answers the phone. Was told that I would be getting a phone call back that day. I have yet to receive that phone call. I called again today before the meeting and was directed to, I believe, the assistant that is handling this, our survey, and had to leave a message, and I have not received I've not received another phone call back. At this point, if this goes on through next month, I will be coming in with a different suggestion on how we need to handle this. They received their
What was the name of the company?
MJ Gibson Surveying out of Greenfield. They received their check approximately 5 weeks ago. And since receiving the check, I have not had, not an email, not a phone call, not anything. So like I said, if this goes on through next month, I'll be coming in with a different idea on how we need to handle this. Because Mr. Freeman, the farmer that owns the property, he wants to get going on it, and get things going. And then, like I said before, with the lift station issues, we need to have a road back there so that the companies can get in and get the 1 pump pulled out. And, we need to find out what it is to start with so that we can get one coming to get it replaced. So, because we don't even know what type or style of pumps are even in the lift station at this point. That was not information that was given to us when we took it over. So that's all I have on that. Remember, Lee, do you have any discussion items? No? Member Groce?
Yes, I just now received an email about the price for the Zoom stream software. And the minimum that we can do is 5.
5.
Like you would have an account, I would have an account, Holly would have an account, Jan would have an account, Bill would have an account. So, the minimum is 5. The difference or the key here is it's Zoom for government, which is what it should, says we need if we do this for the government and stuff. And so I've asked her to give me a quote. She's going to give me a quote just now, but I'm assuming if it's, I think $13 normally per person, then it's going to be $50, $60 or more. And I don't know, at this point we're using, so last month when we had issues, I discovered that we didn't get our upgrade in speed from 9-star that we asked for before. And so, they have fixed that. And so I don't know if last month, the reason we had trouble trying to stream is because of that or not. Today, everything seems okay so far. So, you know, we'll get the quote and we'll figure it out, but
Okay,
right now we're okay, so.
okay. Anything else?
No, not right now. Thank you.
Okay, old business. So I actually spoke with, Dave Keyser, the road engineer, on completing remaining roads in the plan. So what I found out today, excuse me, was that at the state level, things are kind of changing as far as the community crossing grant goes. It's not going away yet, but he told me he thought it was gonna go away somewhere around 2028. So, we are not in an agreement this year to have anything fixed as far as the community crossing grants go. One of the things that we have to have done again is a road assessment redone. That's something that, community crossings in the state are requiring. So he is, he's gonna give me an estimate on what it will cost us to get the road assessment redone and, getting the, roads there at Kennard Lake Estates added to our NDOT inventory. He said there were some changes to how that gets done also, and they were not changes to make things easier. Same thing with, community crossings. They didn't do things to make it easier. So he's gonna put something together and get that emailed to me that, so, we can discuss that, that cost next month.
Did he mention if he has to do a whole new grant application as well?
No. He did not mention that. A grant application for community crossings. I don't see it. I would assume that it would be, the same as, you know, what we do every year when we put that
The reason
together.
I ask is the first year, when he worked with us, the fee from him for his work was roughly $7,500.
Uh-huh,
And then in the years after that, it was in the ballpark of $2,500 a year.
okay,
The work that he do, and that was because he had to do the assessment, but he also had to do the application.
yeah,
I would, and I just wanted to let you know that for this year, in motor vehicle highway distributed, there is plenty of money, even if it was a higher amount. Like if he has to start completely over from scratch again.
okay.
Um,
I would assume that, you know, with having to redo the road assessment and things, that there's going to be costs that are probably similar to
Right, that's
the
what I'm
first year.
Yeah. And, but it would be good, it's budgeted for 25, so keeping that in mind, it would be good to try to go ahead if possible, if we're gonna go forward on this,
Okay,
to get it done before this,
before the end of the year.
not the paving, but just the.
Right, okay, yeah, the road
and
assessment
stuff, so you can give us the bill
before the end of the year, okay.
Did he say why we got dropped off this year?
No. No, I didn't ask that question, partly because
Yeah.
I don't know that there is an answer. I don't want to say that he forgot about us, but, you know, I wonder if he just got,
I
busy with other things
would just
and,
hate to think that the assessment is because we dropped out of our 4-year agreement and we have to restart it because, you know, like, I don't know.
That's why I asked what I asked him.
Because I thought it was set up like year 1, we did fees, year 2, we did fees.
That's
Like, it
what I
was
thought
set.
too, so I was surprised to hear.
I will, listen, I can ask that question if you want me to. Now, I was led to believe that it was, you know, the road assessment had to be redone due to, community crossings, changing how they wanted to do things, but,
Well, we have additional roads too, you know, we have more roads to add, so maybe it's a good thing to look at them again.
okay, yeah, I can ask that. Sorry, I'm writing those questions down. Okay. Moving ahead with the, parts discussion for the ARPA funds. I don't remember exactly the number that was put out there for the park.
86.
No, that was set up in such a way that when we saw what other things cost,
Right,
the rest was gonna be the park.
right,
We were estimating that it was gonna be around 6,500, but we don't know how much the generator's gonna be for the town hall. So, you know, that leaves a little leeway. But there were some other costs, so I would say, if you're gonna discuss, think 5,000.
okay.
And then there might be happy, you know, there'd be more, but to not overestimate.
So, I'm sorry, James, go ahead.
And we do have 4,000 roughly in the park fund that we haven't touched this year.
Okay,
Regularly,
One of the things that did come out, and Joel and everybody, hopefully would want to say wrong, but I do believe that they released information that we can shift money between our projects, but we can't add new projects, but we can shift money.
Right, yeah.
okay. How do we feel about as far as the park discussion and the ARPA funds go, about, let's get somebody that's gonna come in and design something, whether that be a volunteer, we hire someone, cause that's kind of step one. You know, and of course, we're gonna have to come up with what it is that, you know, we're kind of after, but, can we just do that this month, that, we find somebody?
Who did you talk to last time?
It would be, Mark Hayes, and that was just a case of, he said that he would come in and help us if we needed, you know, we needed a hand with that stuff. He's a landscaper, does landscaping, that type of stuff. I mean, he's not necessarily a park designer, which I would rather have a park designer, but, we've kind of kicked that can down the road a few times, and so, you know, if we can get that ball rolling, I think that's kind of where we need to start, is,
I was trying to get a hold of somebody with Ball State. You know, students have their projects and stuff that they need to, capstone projects. So I'm just not really having any luck.
I mean,
Did you call the architecture school?
I emailed,
Because they actually have a landscape architecture degree there, that there will be people that specialize in park designing and
so.
I mean, just to say it out loud, I've worked with people that past jobs were putting artwork in parks. So, I mean, I could definitely get people and students that could put artwork in our parks, but
would they
there is
would,
an actual degree that would like in landscape architecture and park design.
those people putting the art in the park, though, they would have had to have worked with a designer, correct?
no, basically you would give them like 10 by 10, you know, 10 by 10 square, and you'd say, design something to fit here. And it needs to be 12 foot tall, and it can be 6 foot wide, and then they come up with something. Or you know what I mean? It could be, I'm sure, whatever, but
Right.
Usually like you'll give them the spot to put it.
But that's different than the design.
Yeah, it's two things. Like what I'm saying is like little things that would go in a park.
Right.
What we're saying overall is like the concept.
The overall
Put the
concept.
flowers there and the pathway.
Well, where to put roads and
Um,
how people flow through and all that.
So,
sort of stuff.
yeah, so-
It's fairly complex.
Yeah, if any of us can find contact information for anybody, I mean, if somebody lets me know some type of contact information, I don't have a problem making a phone call. I don't know who to contact. And like I said, the gentleman from Nicetown, that was just a thing that kind of a bug I put in his ear about,
Yeah.
if it came down to it, if he could help. And he said he'd be willing to help. So, now whether there's a fee involved in that, I don't know.
And we're not talking like we have a ton of money to spend in it either. So it's going to be a modest improvement.
Right. But I think first step needs to be some type of a plan. Okay. Well, let's make sure we revisit that next month.
We're trying to get someone that has had
Yeah.
some experience with that.
Yeah. Like I said, if you find me a contact, I'd be more than willing to call them. So, okay. Let's see, new business. There is a pothole at Rosewood and Railroad. I did drive by and look at that. It's right in the middle of the road, and when you turn it right in the corner, and when you turn the corner, it's almost inevitable that your tire's gonna hit. You're gonna get a tire in it. I'd say it's at this point about 6 inches deep, 12 by 12 hole kind of size. It needs to have something done with it. There's also some other potholes that I think are getting bigger on the end of Main Street. And I don't know that it's a thing that they didn't get dealt with the last time versus they weren't a problem the last time. It's just gotten worse. Yeah, down on the south end of Main Street from south of Martindale. That they probably need to be dealt with. Does anybody have any issues with me trying to get estimates to have that dealt with? Okay. Mike, is that something you're interested in doing? Giving us an estimate? Huh?
Probably not.
Okay. We can
I
fill
don't have time for the stuff I'm already doing.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Let's see, beautifying areas in town, ideas, needs. I mean,
Front door about takes your leg out, though.
well, let's deal with that. Okay, so the front door at the post office?
Right here.
Oh. I didn't notice.
Jan, how did you get in and out of that door?
I lean on it, I actually.
You let it shove you through?
Kind of,
That's why we leave the chair there, just tucks it right in the chair.
yeah, it
Okay.
actually kind of works for me, but, people come in and
It's
get,
it's heavy, the door's really heavy, yeah.
usually that thing that's supposed to slow it down
The gas thing at the top,
doesn't work, I guess.
yeah.
Even Calciano bought a new one for that.
I think we looked at that and it's like completely different size or something, yeah. I'll take another look at it. And
Do you think it's just replacing the shock at the top?
it's probably a thing if you gotta replace all of it, that box.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is probably a thing, you gotta replace that whole deal. And I'd like to find one that's the same size so we don't have to re-drill holes and then patch other holes, which, the one that Edith bought or whatnot. Yeah, so I'll take some pictures and see if I can't find something. And maybe we've got some on Amazon, or find something on Amazon to replace that. Cause like I said, I don't wanna have to re-drill holes and then repair holes and all that kind of stuff, so. Okay. And I was told the post office door is like that too, but I haven't noticed that either, so. Okay. All right, moving forward, announcements. Are the, oh, you do?
Top of the sign, can we get that finished?
I'm sorry.
The top of the sign, can we get that finished? We keep forgetting about it, but it's there, you know.
Yep, I will contact the fire department and ask,
I think they
ask them to finish that.
Don't they have it, right? Maybe.
The gray piece is out there, I don't know what has to be done with it.
Oh.
The gray piece is
Is
sitting
it
on top
covered,
of
is
it.
it covered? Oh, okay.
It's just sitting there.
Oh. So we need to paint it now, maybe, the finish.
Well, it needs to be, yeah, it needs to be finished, painted. I don't know what all that consists of, but I'll find out. Okay, was there anything else?
I had a note in the sewer box out here, a guy that lives on the other end of town, he has a broken tree out front, it was on this side of the sidewalk. And-
On the road side of the sidewalk?
Yeah.
Okay,
And, they wanted to know if that was, you know, if the town could do something about it, 'cause they're both dead, I think, but they're gonna call them,
It's not ours to deal with.
yeah, so the precedent on that unfortunately is that's their tree to deal with. All the way and up to and including that if they want to cut that whole tree down, they cut that tree down, you know? That's just the precedent that's been set for quite some time now that, Joel, what's that called? Isn't there a name for that?
Or
Like the,
between the sidewalk and the road.
The street tree, I heard that term.
Well, like basically it's the property owner's responsibility to take care of it and maintain it.
Sure.
But then if the town needs to like put a pipe in, we can.
Take it out, yeah, it's within the town's easement.
okay,
Yeah.
but it is their.
It's still their property. yeah.
Their property, okay.
years ago, the state came through and they marked some, you know, that they were gonna cut down, but then they never.
Oh, they probably ran out of money or spent it on something else.
When it's on North 234, is that state instead of us?
Should be. Or well,
I would say that because it's in that easement, that it's their, the state's gonna say the same thing we're saying is that it's their property. It's just, you know, a town or state in that situation, in a state easement.
The
So,
only time we can step in would be like when the farmers had an issue coming with their tractors, we had to cut them back.
yes,
well, he took some out too. I think he hit some with his tractor, didn't he?
Yeah.
And we cut some down
And
for
so
him.
we just like cut some back that were low hanging, but we didn't.
right,
Take
yeah.
them all the way down.
We don't, yeah, we try not to get involved in storm cleanup. You know, in those situations, you know,
You might do something about it.
if it's
The wires now.
by if it's by a, you know, an electric line or something, they will, but if it's not by the electric line, no, they'll run too. Okay. Is there any other, additional announcements? Holly? Jason?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, we've reached the point in the meeting, where we pay the bills. If you'd like to stay and watch us pay the bills, you're more than welcome. Those of you on YouTube will get to stay and watch us pay the bills. If not, we will see you in August. Thank you for coming.
Yes,
Okay, so then they get
yeah.
and there's a big amount.
Okay.
And then the trust.
What that means.
That's not bad.
It's not.
Oh. With the changes in it.
I just retired out.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I change that 6,000?
Oh, yeah.
It's the same owner.
Same
They
owner.
still live there.
They filed bankruptcy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was.
13, you got a little bit of money out of it. Yeah, you can't collect anything excess.
So is there a name for that?
I think you just write it on bad debt or uncollected. Because, yeah, you can't do anything to force it.
I don't have
So,
that.
in essence, I mean, if they voluntarily pay, great, but
No.
you can't take any steps to collect it.
File it with somebody or write a letter to them?
Yeah, no, you don't have to let the other, I mean, the debtors know, you just don't have to try to close it, we promise for your own records. The state can count that, say, why aren't you doing anything, just say, we have this part, discharge.
Okay. So that's, there's a place to put that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so just make that a note for that amount. So, yep, that works. Sure it does. See ya. Hey, Joe, hey, I'll see you guys.
See, Joel?
You have to print out the deputies.
Let me know if you need any help.
On the bills?
Yeah.
No. What's
Let me know
that?
if you need help getting the survey company.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm surprised nobody's giving you at least an update.
I don't, we're live,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, if I can't get anything done, yeah, I will give you a call.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Joel.
No problem.
I gave you a minute, copy the minutes to sign.
Yeah, I signed it.
Oh, she has it. Okay, there is the salary ordinance.
Did you give me this?
I did, yeah. Just a second ago.
How long would you like to go do that first? You seem to be the fastest.
Thank you, I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And that's the signed salary ordinance for that. Hey Jan, have you noticed any difference in the street lights since they changed to LED? Did you ever notice any like?
Went down.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's been on the last.
You have to crawl into the
Usually it's like
finished
the
pit
same price and it's.
after we drained it.
One month it was a bunch
To
up.
catch a
next
snapping
month it was
turtle.
bunched down, I don't know what that's about, but.
With his hands. Yeah,
What were you?
the, reimbursement about the, catching the snapping turtle out of the finished
yeah.
pond, or not finished pond, but
That was
finished
the most
pit.
unusual check I've written since I've been here.
Yeah. Mr. Turpin said the same thing,
Yeah.
yeah, and the check actually said wildlife wrangler on it. I know, I wasn't getting in that pit. Mm-mm. Nope. I do believe that might have been just a little bit more than what was estimated. They wound up not putting in I think we talked about that last month, didn't we? About the sinkhole. Yeah.
Is that the second they do this with that?
She only has one check.
Did Mike leave?
She's been there 2 weeks ago, she only had one check.
He forgot, I guess.
What's the date on that? Is it middle of the month or?
6:30.
Yeah, I bet she only got paid once a month.
What is,
Or got, Mrs. Bribble's check,
yeah, it's once a month.
just once,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
So will you pay it differently with the salary ordinance being every 2 weeks?
That's the only reason I even thought about it,
I
because the
missed
ordinance
that part
says
of that
2
we
weeks.
figured it out. Totally.
That's
Yes.
the only reason I haven't thought about it.
Oh, shoot. Sorry, I missed that. I just made a bunch more, made it more complicated.
Yeah, just know when we just read it, I was like, okay, just making sure.
Looks like the insurance company got us again,
And I think that might be done because
always.
the amount of money that would be made might just be enough to kind of keep going for a couple weeks, or, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of extra money, you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but see, I'm the only person that gets paid.
Yeah.
I guess I could put it on the state schedule as me. Everybody else gets paid quarterly or monthly.
Yeah.
Jason, take a look at that.
Did you have another question while I was talking to Jason?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
No, I think the only question was, about the venue clerk.
While I'm looking at this, Jan, how's the telephone working out?
Well, that, I want you to check it.
Okay.
Now, we can't retrieve the calls. I can't hear the calls on the computer. And it doesn't give me voice to text, so I can't read the calls. So people are calling and I can't respond.
Which is when they're coming out to Facebook and saying, I can't get a hold of the clerk.
So when you call the number, you can't hear the messages?
Yeah, and it's not showing, it sends me an email and said, hey, give it a phone call.
Yeah.
It doesn't say who from or what they're saying, and the other, Google did, I could look at the email and read what people said. Then if it was kind of garbled, I could hear it. With this, it sends me an email, and this says you got a call, and I can't hear it on either computer, the laptop or the office.
You have the laptop with you?
Yeah, but we can't hear it on the office one either. And then we tried to retrieve it on just the phone set, and we couldn't get it to retrieve. Plus, the number of calls that I got emails saying we received aren't logged on the phone itself. So, nothing is working about it.
Did they give you any training whatsoever, or just plug it in?
He gave me the passwords, and I did it once, and it worked. When he called.
So you go to a website login?
No, the phone itself.
Oh,
It's
password.
it's like we're now living in 1980 again.
Oh,
You call in on the phone, and you put in the password and all that stuff.
Okay. I will go ahead and make a motion, to approve the, APV register for June of 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. I will also make a motion to adjourn the July 9th, 2025 meeting.
What time is it?
18.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned.